Let me ask y'all a question. Now, I don't want to make nobody mad. All right? And I ain't criticizing. All right? But I'm a man that is a critical thinker. All right? And it have to make sense to me. So I want to ask y'all church-going folks, how does the church benefit you financially? All right. And the reason why I'm asking this question, because churchgoers always finance the church, give their finances to the church, give this so-called money to the church. You invest in the church. But how does the church invest in you? How do you benefit from the church? You go every Sunday, put on your finest clothes and drive your finest car. Huh? And give your hard-earned dollars. But what do you get in return? I don't want to make nobody mad. What do you get in return for your investment? Huh? Let me tell y'all something. I grew up in the church. All right. And we just had the John's family reunion, where I got to meet a lot of my adopted father side of the family. Let me cut this air down a little bit. I got to meet a lot of his offspring. All right, his children, his grandchildren, and his great-grand. All right, Mr. Walter S. Jones, Mr. Walter Scrap Jones, that was my adopted father. He was the first father that I knew, because my biological daddy, when he got through with my mama, he kept on stepping and never did look back. So at 7 days old, my mother gave me away to Mr. Walter Jones and Miss Annabelle Jones. And they raised me up, all right, until I decided to go on my own. Well, Mr. Walter Jones was a faithful churchgoer. Every Sunday, he was an assistant pastor of Ebenezer AME Church. Right there at the corner of Highway 176 and 311. We didn't have no transportation. We didn't even have a mule. This was back in the 60s. He would get up and get dressed, and he would start his journey. Now, from where we lived at to the church, I say it was a good 7 to 8 miles. All right. This is an estimation. I'm gonna drive it one day. It may not been that many, but I know it was over. It was around 5 miles from where we lived. He would start walking early that morning. All right. And everybody around there knowed him, white and black. So they saw him walking, they'd give him a ride. And then he would send somebody back to pick us up. Me and Miss Annabelle, my adopted mother. He would either send Mr. Willis Gilliard, all right, or Mr. Vanette Butler, all right. And I think on some occasion, Mr. Carwell Pinckney, all right, will come get us and bring us to church. And then after church, we would catch a ride back to the house. All right. I remember my adopted mama giving me 2 cents, a penny, to put in the basket when they come around to take up collection, because they did that every Sunday. But we were poor. The church never done anything for us. Mr. Taylor, Reverend Taylor was the pastor at Ebenezer at that time. All right. And he got a salary for being the pastor. And every Sunday he went around to all the members' house and eat like a Mississippi mule. Him and his wife and his children. All right. They had a route, a schedule. This member was scheduled to feed him on the first Sunday. And this member was scheduled to feed him on the second, the third Sunday. Okay? Sometimes he didn't show up on the fourth Sunday. My adopted father pastored the church on the fourth Sunday. But if he did show up on the fourth Sunday, somebody in the congregation fed him until it got around to us. All right? Now, he'd come and eat like a Mississippi mule. All right? We didn't have no running water. We didn't have no electric lights. We didn't have no transportation, not even a mule. Okay? Back then, people still used mules back in the 60s as transportation. All right? We were dirt poor. Most of our food that we consume, we raised it in the garden. All right? I spent many hours working in the garden. All right? We had a few hogs and a few chickens. All right? And when he came, it was our time to feed him. My adopted mama, she knew how to entertain, all right, company. She pulled out all the nice glasses and the plates and the forks and the spoons and the bowl. All right. She did stuff for the pastor that she didn't even do for me and Mr. Walter. All right. But she loved the pastor. And I done did all the hard work to make all this happen because, see, we didn't have no electric lights. We cooked on a wood stove. And I was the fireman. Huh? And I was the chopper. To chop all the wood. Split up all the wood. I spent many hours as a child on the damn wood pile. Okay? But I wasn't worthy to eat at the table with the pastor. I had to go somewhere. All right. I couldn't eat until he got through and left. Then I had to wash all them dishes, and you better not break none. All right, well, you got ass cutting. Miss Annabelle Jones believed in ass cutting for the least little thing that you did. Yeah. All right. So the church, make a long story short, the church never benefited us, and we were poor. I had to haul water from the neighbor house because we had a well, but our well ran dry. And the reason why it ran dry because we didn't have enough money to put the concrete pipes down in it to keep the sidewall from falling in because the well was dug on high ground. See? So when our well ran dry, I had to haul water from Mr. Howard Bradley and Miss Sadie Bradley house. All day long in a wheelbarrow with an iron wheel on it and a number 210 tub. All right. And I hauled water all day long. Sometimes I'd get tired and weak, and sometimes the barrel would turn over and waste the water. I had to turn around and do it again. Pumping that water and going down that dirt road. All right. I had to carry that I had to push that wheelbarrow about a quarter of a mile from Mr. Howard Bradley and Miss Sadie house to our house because I had to haul water for the chickens, okay, the hogs, all right, for our consumption, so we have water to drink, and I had to haul water for us to wash clothes with, all right, see. That was a lot of water hauling that I did. As a child, I was about 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, because that shit lasts a long time. All right. We like sometimes we couldn't get nobody to haul us no wood, to bring us no wood, because see, in the wintertime we had a stove to warm by, then we had a stove that we cooked on in the kitchen. Sometimes we couldn't find nobody. Nobody wouldn't haul us no wood. Me and Miss Annabelle, my adopted mama, went in the woods with a cross-cut saw and a bow saw and an axe. And we would saw down the trees. We'd saw down a tree and cut it up in the woods and split it. And put the wood in the crocus sack and put it on our back and haul it to the house to keep from freezing in the wintertime. The church never done a damn thing for us. Huh? They know what we was going through. And we weren't the only one that was suffering. We weren't the only one that was poor. What did the church do? Nothing. If you went to church on Sunday, they wanted you to give them some money. They wanted you to invest in them. We went in the woods with a crosscut saw and a bow saw and an axe. Cold. Holes in our shoes. We put cardboard in our shoes to keep part of our feet off the ground. Yeah, we went to church. We gave, but we never got nothing out of it. So the question is, what do y'all get out of it? Because we know we never got anything out of it. The windows of heaven didn't open and pour us down a blessing that we didn't have room enough to receive. The only blessing that we got is we created ourselves. We went out there and worked. Miss Annabelle worked around there, around the area for the white folks, cleaning up their house and ironing their clothes. Miss Walter Jones did all kind of work around there for white folks, making $2 or $3 a day, cleaning fence line, all right, cleaning ditch roads. Breaking yard. All right, he would clean up the Legion hut down that duck pond. All right. When the Mason would have their big old fish fry. All right. And sometimes he'd bring home the scraps. That's why they called him Scrap. Walter Scrap Jones. A lot of white folks used to call him Pappy Scrap. So that's why they gave him that name, because a lot of times that's all he had to feed his family was the scraps that they gave him. That's why they called it Scrap. Scrap Jones. No? But he believed in church. He believed in Jesus. So did Miss Annabelle. If you were to tell them that Jesus wasn't real, they'd have killed you. And they had a great big old picture in the house. Huh? A great big old picture that Leonardo da Vinci painted of his lover. And that's supposed to have been the picture of Jesus. And it was in every church that I went to. That picture was hanging on the wall. The church had a great big old picture. And every time you look at that picture would be looking at you. That was Jesus. If you to tell them, and a lot of people down, if you to tell them that the name of Jesus was made up during the Council of Nicaea, the Council of Ephesus, the Council of Chalcedon, the Council of Constantinople, that the Bible went through Constantine, King James, and Rome. If you were to tell them that Jesus wasn't the name of God's only begotten Son, they'd kill you. You would be outcast. They believed in the church. And they gave what they could, the little pennies, the nickels and dimes and quarters. See, back then, church would count change. Huh? See? Back then, the church would count change. They gave the little nickels and dimes and quarters. They gave out of need. The money that they was given, the money that Mr. Walter Jones and Miss Annabelle Jones and a lot of other people was given, they actually needed that money. Huh? But they would sacrifice to give to the church. And the church never did nothing for them, but continued to take. And then you're going to tell me that it's better to give than to receive, but your ass always on the receiving end? Nigga, please. Because back then you couldn't tell, and you can't tell them now, that Satan had his hands on the Bible before y'all got it. That the J wasn't added to the alphabets until the 1700s. That was AD. Jesus, or Yeshua, was already crucified. So what was his name before they invented the J, which came from the I? What was the name before that? Couldn't have been Jesus. The whole world have been deceived. We've been lied to. But you can't tell church folk that. Because see, once you hear a lie so many times over and over and over and over again, once you believed in the lie, it's hard for you to accept the truth. See, the truth will not set you free unless you accept it. See? There's about $14 million go through our black churches every Sunday. Where's our schools? Where's our banks? Where's our hospital? Where's our food change stores? There ain't none. All right. So out of that 14 million, and you go around a year, and you will have billions of dollars go through the black churches every year. But what do we have to show for it? All you got up in the pulpit is religious pimps. Yeah, I'm gonna say it again. All you got in the pulpit is religious pimps. Any so-called preacher, pastor that requires a salary or required to be paid is nothing but a religious pimp. He's nothing but he or she is nothing but a religious pimp. You're not in the ministry because you love so-called Jesus or Yeshua or Yeshua HaMashiach. You there for the money. You might as well admit it. Quit lying to yourself. If they cut your salary out off, you cut off. I don't want to make nobody mad, but I got to tell you the truth. Okay? Huh? Church is about money. Religion is about money. It's not for the love of the Almighty God. I don't be bothered with them. All right, because I don't want to get up. I don't want to hear your ideology about your experience. Show me. See, God and the white folks took care of us down there in South Carolina off of Highway 311. Huh? Not the church. God made ways and provision for us. And the white folks did a lot for us. It hadn't meant for white folks, me and Mr. Walter Jones and Miss Annabelle Jones would have went through more suffering than we did if it hadn't meant for the white folks. Y'all rich ass black people that was down there, all right, didn't do nothing for us. Wouldn't even bring us a load of wood. Huh? But you pass by the house, all right, and wanted something out of that damn garden that we had, because we had a big garden. And Miss Annabelle was free-hearted, all right, yeah. She'd tell me to go out there and pick a peck of beans or half a bushel of beans and give to them. But they never did give us a damn thing. And I couldn't say what I wanted to say. Because they'd stop and talk to her. They wouldn't stop and talk to her unless they wanted something. They wanted something out of that garden. They wanted some squash or some okra, huh? Or one of them watermelons that we had out there, or one of them cantaloupes. That's what they'll stop to talk up on. And since Miss Annabelle was free-hearted, all right, she told me to go out there and get him a watermelon and put it in the car or put it in the truck. Yeah, but you never did a damn thing for us. The white people took care of us. All right. All right. Rennie's secretary was good to us. Mr. Lawton and Miss Rosalie secretary was good to us. Mr. Robertson, all right, and his wife, all right, can't think of her name now, but she worked up there at that tower. She's climbed them stairs every morning and every afternoon, wound up in the tower watching out for fire. Can't think of her name right now. The Piglers was good to us. All right? Yeah. Piglers was good to us. The Cross, they were good to us. Yeah. And the Mims was good to us. They were all white folks. All right, I can't name one black person that was good to us other than Mr. Willis Gilliard and Mr. Vanette Butler. All them other rich folks down there like the Hustlers and the Myers, huh? They never did nothing for us. White folks and God took care of us down there off of Highway 311, down off of Groomstown Road. It's white folks and God The church never done nothing for us. All right, so I don't believe in church. I don't believe in church. Because it doesn't benefit me. See, I have to benefit. See, I drive this truck. I've been in transportation ever since 1986. It benefited me to be in transportation. Most of what I have came through transportation, not the church. Is what I got out here and work for. And that's all you're going to get. Because going to church don't benefit nobody but the overseers. That's who benefit from church, is the overseers. Not the people. That gonna fly in my daggone truck. Not the people. People don't benefit from church. The overseers who run the church benefit. Why you think that so many church is popping up? There's more churches than you have black ministers. There's more black churches than there's black ministers. Something wrong with that picture. Everybody want to start a church. But God called them to preach. But if God called you to preach, then let God give you money. Why are you begging me? If you so blessed, if you're too blessed to be stressed, then why you begging every Sunday? You said God called you to preach. Well, that's between you and God. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't need you to preach to me. If you do anything, teach me. All right? And I'm going to close with this right here. See, you never hear pastors or preachers preach from 1 Corinthians 9, chapter 9. All right. Now they'll go into all of these other scriptures. All right. And try to preach and teach. But they never preach on the rights of the apostles. Paul said here, and I'm just going to read a little bit of it, and I'm going to close with this. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Verse 16, for though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of. For necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. All right? For if I do this thing willingly, at will, I have a reward. But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me, what is my reward then? Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Christ without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. Paul said, I needed many things. If others be partaker of this power over you, are not we rather worthy? Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the gospel. See, when you charge, now y'all go to 1 Corinthians and read chapter 9. All right. See, if I charge and the church charge you every Sunday, all right, because you got to give them some money before you hear the word. Huh? And most pastors, preachers, ministers, if you cut off that money, they're going to cut off. But now what you're doing is you're hindering the gospel. Okay? Because the gospel was given to you free. See? Church don't do anything for folks. If you invest in something and you ain't getting nothing out of what you invested in, and you just fanning the wind. That's it. So I want to ask y'all, I'm going to close with this. All your church goals, huh? What do you gain financially from the church? All right. Now you give financially, huh? Every Sunday. Every time the church doors open. Sometimes I've been to churches where they took up a collection during Bible study. Always some type of fundraising in the church. Okay. So you invest in your hard-earned money. Now I don't know about y'all. Now let me see. Where my money at? All right. I don't know about y'all. All right. But you see these things here? Huh? You see these things right here? And them 20s. See that? Huh? See? See these things right here? Huh? See them? Huh? Look. Them things don't come easy. Huh? You don't get none of these. You don't get none of these when you go to the church. They don't give you none of these. Huh? To get these right here, you gotta go to work. Huh? For the people that go on to church now, the people that run the churches, they get them for free. For just getting up there hollering and hooping in that microphone, because a lot of them can't preach. See, Mr. Walter Jones could preach. All right, he could set the house on fire. I did a little bit of his preaching when at the family reunion. I'm glad that one day God picked me up and He turned me around, and He placed my feet on a solid ground, and He fixed my hands and my hand out. Oh, they look new, and He fixed my feet, and my feet He did too, and then He fixed my mind, and my mind became new, and my head got wet in the midnight dew, and I can tell the world that I'm a witness too. And if you want to be a witness, can you wave your hand? You ain't got to stand up, but if you love the Lord, can you wave your hand? I got one more thing I want to tell you. See, God woke me up this morning, and He woke me up on time. Oh, y'all don't hear me. God woke me up this morning, and He woke me up on time. I had my health and my strength, and I was in clothes in my right mind. Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? If you want to be a witness, you ought to stand up on your feet. Oh Lord, oh Lord. See, Miss Walter Jones could preach, and he couldn't even read and write. Miss Walter Jones had power in his breath. He could talk to fire out of folks. I don't know how he do it, but every time he did it, he'd get down there and whisper some words, and the person that was burned would start throwing up. Because Walter Jones could cure stuff. He knew about natural herbs and spices. He had a cure for cold, for the whooping cough. Just about any kind of sickness, he'd go in the woods and get some stuff. And mix up some stuff, and you'd be all right. Through the power of God and white folks, that's how we got our help. We ain't get nothing from the church, and they know our condition. Huh? They know we didn't have no electric lights. They know we didn't have a mule and a wagon. Huh? They know we didn't have no running water. What did the church do? Nothing. What does the church do for folks nowadays? Nothing. If you go to them and ask them for some money to help you out with your bills, they put you through all this bullshit protocol. If they help you. Most of the time you won't get no help. The preacher, and I know I said I was going to close, but I'm close. But the pastor of that church is going to charge you to preach your funeral, and you've been going in that church just about all your life, and he's going to charge your family to preach your funeral. Because they claim preaching the funeral is not part of pastoring the church. That's extra, and he got to be paid. So your pastor, when your mama or your daddy dies, they've been going to that church all their life, paying their tithes and their offering, that preacher gonna get paid to preach, to do the eulogy. He gonna get paid $300 to $400 to $500. The undertaker gonna get his money because that's gonna be part of the total funeral charge that the undertaker charge you. The undertaker cut him a check out of his cut. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. And you've been going to that church all your life, paying your tithes and your offering. So what did you benefit? Huh? All right. This young woman that is a pastor at the church I was baptized at. All right. I went to her to buy a plot because I wanted to be buried at that church. So that's where I was baptized at. The AME doesn't baptize you. I'm a member of the AME, Ebenezer too. So that's what I first, Miss Annabelle and Miss Walter Jones and Miss Annabelle brought me to the altar when I was a baby at Ebenezer, AME. But Poplar Hill Christian Church was closer. I could cut up through the woods and go there on Sundays, and that's what I did. And I joined. I joined that church when I was about 12 or 13 years old. So I grew up in church, so I know about church. All right? And the pastor there now is a woman. I think she's the first woman preacher ever been to that, ever pastor at that church. And I went to her house. I know where she lived at. And I told her that I wanted to be buried at Poplar Hill, and I want to buy a plot. I had $5,000 in my pocket at the time. She told me, she said, I don't sell plots. I said, what? He said, no, I don't sell plots. So you need to come to church and pay your tithes and your offering. Well, I didn't tell her that, but you know, because I ain't want to start no shit. Okay. So I said, well, I understand, you know. I said, but I live in Columbia. I said, I can't come to church every Sunday. But she said, well, you can mail in your tithes and your offering. So that tells me that she wanted my money. Support the church. She wanted me to support the church, which you supporting her. See, the church only be open 2 times a week. That's on Wednesday night and Sundays. Unless they're having a funeral on Saturday. They don't have funerals on Sundays no more, because Sunday mess up the tithe and offering day. So most of the people are being buried now on Saturday or through the week. So since I don't pay no tithes and offering, but I don't owe no tithes and offering. I ain't gonna pay nothing I don't owe. Huh? You got me. I ain't gonna say the word. I ain't gonna pay nothing I don't owe. I don't owe no tithes and offering. Huh? Prove to me that I owe some tithes and offering. I don't have to give nobody anything. Huh? I don't owe no tithes. In order to owe something, you have to either borrow or cause personal injury to in some way, form, or fashion. So I don't owe no tithes. All right? Tithes was never a commandment from God. God sanctioned it. God went along with it. But Abraham, the one that started tithing. God didn't command nobody to give nobody nothing. Huh? God don't even command that you give him, reference him. Huh? It's free will. Tithes and offering is self-compliance. Huh? You can't demand that I pay tithes, and if I don't, then I can't be buried there. Huh? Because you have to pay to be buried. Basically. But what she's saying, well, if you're a member here and you pay your tithes and offering, you don't have to buy a plot. You can be buried here. So she want me to give her my tithes and my offering. She want me to give her 10% of what I earn every week. Huh? But a plot don't cost no more than about $700 or $800. All right. I was willing. I had $1,500 earmarked for a plot. All right. But if I give you 10% of my salary every Sunday, then I done paid more than $1,500. I ain't gonna pay nothing that I don't owe. Huh? I don't support pimps in the pulpit. I don't support pulpit pimps. I don't. Huh? I'd rather give my 10% to a homeless person out there that really need it. Or give it to a wino or crackhead. Huh? I'd rather give them than to give a religious pimp, a pulpit pimp. Huh? So first of all, you ain't supposed to be in the pulpit to begin with, as no pastor or no church. You don't have that authority as a woman. Huh? You out of order. But you can't tell women's that nowadays. Okay? Because women want to take the place of a man. Huh? A lot of women are wannabe men. But the people that goes there and pay their tithes and their offering, what do they gain financially from the church? From their investment? Huh? Oh, you got a little title? You got a title in the church, you ain't got no title out here in the community. You ain't no community actor. Don't nobody recognize you out here in the community. You ain't doing nothing in the community. Churches don't do nothing in the community. If they do anything, they go out there and try to gain more members, try to get you to come to their church so they can get some money out of you. Some of y'all only got a title in the church. That's all. And the church give you that title to hold you there, to make you think that you're somebody. Huh? That's to hold you there for you to keep coming and giving them your money. Reverse psychology. I don't want to make nobody mad. What I say today is just my personal opinion. All right. That's the way I feel. That's what I experience. I've been watching churches. Sure have. Huh? Mostly all they're concerned about is your MONEY. That's what they're concerned about. Yeah. There's just as much sin going on in the church as it is out here on the street. But I know some people that went to Ebenezer, they wasn't saved. They were hustlers, bootleggers, and whoremongers. When they left the church, they went home and got them a drink of liquor. In both church, Poplar Hill and Ebenezer. So if a baby pop up in the church and the woman ain't married, that shouldn't be. Yeah, most churches I know a bunch of sinners up in the church playing Christian. They've been partying all just by half the night Saturday night and came to church Sunday morning. But the church is for sinners. But it should be a time when you come out of that, not be repetitive. I know what's going on in these churches. Your church folks say all of that. Basically, I'll be perfectly honest with you, most of the churchgoers are fools. A church is actually an institution for weak-minded people. You need somebody to guide you. A church is an institution. I don't need to be institutionalized. No, I don't need to be institutionalized. I'm not a weak-minded person. I don't need to have your ideology of your so-called Christian walk. I don't need you to recite the Bible to me. I can read it for myself. I carry one everywhere I go. This Bible been all over the United States. Yeah. I don't need you to read to me or tell me your ideology about religion. Because a lot of that stuff in that Bible wasn't wrote by God. Wasn't wrote by inspired men of God. It was wrote by devils. The devil had his hand on the Bible before you got it. Do not lean to your own understanding. Who understanding you gonna lean to if you don't lean to your own understanding? Trust in God. Well, I need to understand God before I can trust in Him. You need to understand something before you can trust in it. So how am I not gonna lean to my own understanding? So you can tell what Satan tampered with. If you're a critical thinker and you think, God give me a brain to think. Who understand I'm gonna lean to if I don't lean to my own? See? I don't need to be led by nobody. It's God in me. I have the capability of leading myself. But I'm going to get off here. I don't want to make nobody mad. All right. Y'all be blessed. And thank you for listening.